Kia ora, good morning. I've been awake for about an hour. I wanted to give everyone an update to let you know how I'm doing. Because, I was so angry yesterday. I was furious. But I'm going to explain why. Um, I basically, after I made that live, I sat and I read the Bible. What I usually do when I need answers or I need clarification or I need soothing, I turn to the Bible. I listen to sermons on YouTube. And what I do is, as I've explained before, I get my Bible and I just let it fall open, and guaranteed every time, wherever it falls open, it's absolutely what I need to hear. Um, it's like God talks to me through the Bible. He tells me what I need. In that moment, I just let the Bible pages fall open where it, at may, let it fall without controlling where the pages land, and guaranteed every time it's got what I need to hear. And when I did that yesterday, it fell on Jeremiah. I love Jeremiah. The book of Jeremiah is one of my favourites, like Isaiah and Daniel and Job as well. And it fell on Jeremiah 10 through 11, which is God and idols, coming destruction, and Jeremiah's prayer. And I read it all. And it was perfect. It was basically God saying, I'm watching, like I'm in control of all of this, don't worry. And that people like Donald Trump and Elon Musk and all these billionaires and world leaders and that, who are only in it for themselves, I'm watching, and the destruction is coming. So just have faith and bear with me, because everything is happening in divine timing. You know, God talked about Ebola in Revelations and all that. He said they were going to try and drop the plagues, and in the last few months we've had Ebola's coming, hantavirus, meningitis, measles, blah, sort of thing. So he's right. Everything is happening in divine timing. It's interesting with the Ebola thing, because I was just reading that the people in the Congo are burning the hospital, have burnt the hospital and that, because they're saying there's something not right with this Ebola thing. They're saying that healthy people are dropping dead, and they're not letting them have access to the bodies. They're denying them funerary rights and all of that, and they're trying to make out like because Ebola, sort of thing. But if you look, Ebola is just another version of COVID. Every pandemic is just another version of COVID. It's a COVID variant. COVID's been around for a long time, for well over a century. And if you look at the plague, with the rats, the Great Plague of London and all of that, the bubonic plague is just another form of COVID, with the rats, hantavirus, and all of that. So, it's been around for a long time. Our immune systems are built for this sort of thing, because they've been shoving it down our throats for however many, they've been working with bioterrorism for centuries now. So it was basically, once they started figuring out that if you just wash regularly and have fresh access to fresh water and fresh food and that, your immune system takes care of everything else. So, they dirty the water. They don't let you have access to healthy food, because they put pesticides and everything, and all of that sort of thing. So, it goes back to the reason why I was so angry yesterday, because I'd been trying to say to people that this was exactly what the plan was, and it's even in the Bible. And some of the people that I was trying to warn claim to be Christians. Some of the people that I was talking to, like even the doctors, were claiming to be Christians. And yet there it was in the Bible, and they were completely ignoring what God's instruction, basically. So it's hypocritical. How can you claim to be a believer in God? How can you claim to be a Christian? How can you go to church every Sunday and sit and read your Bible and preach the name of the Lord, but you don't believe a word of anything he says when he clearly tells us what's coming in the book of Revelation, when he talks about the plagues they're going to try and drop? And now these poor people in Congo have been chosen to be the sacrifice, watching them, with their fake masks and everything on, just like COVID, all over again. And the people are saying, hang on a minute, there's something not right about this. And then the second the people try and do something about it, they bring in the military and, clashes and fires and because they're treating the people of Congo like they're idiots, like they're morons, like they're uneducated idiots who don't know what's going on, but they know exactly what's going on. There's a reason why Africa has one of the lowest vaccine rates in the world, because they're not idiots. They're our oldest ancestors, for God's sakes. Without Africa, none of the rest of the world would exist. And yet, people like Bill Gates and the WHO are treating them like that. What does Bill Gates call them? The deplorables. But there's a reason why they're our oldest living ancestors, because they're smart, because they know what's what. And they're starting to cotton on in Congo that there's something not right about this Ebola thing. And the second they start trying to get answers, clashes break out, because the WHO need to cover it all up. They don't want people knowing the truth. But God is saying, when that book fell on Jeremiah 10 through 11, I'm seeing everything. I'm seeing everything they're doing, and God's destruction is coming. They can think they're getting away with it, but they've gotten away with it for hundreds of years now, and enough is enough. Because people are getting angrier and angrier and angrier, and things are starting to tip people over the edge, to the point where what happened with Starmer and that in the UK over the weekend, the bombing of Russia, now this whole Ebola Hunter virus thing, because Hunter virus has suddenly gone very quiet, and now it's meningitis. Like when people don't buy one thing, they try and push another, and God's saying, let them do it, because I'm keeping score. And when I come down with my wrath, this is what 10 through 11 was saying, they're going to know what's what. And he even says, including the people of Israel. So he knows what's what. He knows where it's coming from. He knows who's involved. And he's saying, just let them do what they've got to do, because when I come in and pull the rug out from under them, it's going to be a thud hoot around the world. And the thing is, the reason why I was so pissed off, because then after I read that, the Jeremiah in the Bible, I lay and I listened to some sermons about betrayal on YouTube, because that's why I was angry, because I've never felt so betrayed in all my life. It's like the one sure way to make sure that I cut off all emotion from you like that, boom, like that, is disloyalty. Loyalty to me is like the most precious metal, osmium. It's like the most precious thing to me, and loyalty comes under many forms. There's many kinds of loyalty, pertaining to the relationship you have with the person. Whether it's a friend, a lover, an acquaintance, someone you work with, your employees, your boss, your neighbours. These varying forms. Loyalty is an umbrella. Hang on. And the surest way to cut off all my respect for you is when I see you being disloyal. to other people, to your beliefs, to your religion, to your principles, to me, to whatever. I cannot stand disloyalty. And when I was with Martin and I knew that I wanted to go to America and build this school for inner city kids, you know, the art of creation was what I was going to call this school for inner city kids to keep them busy so they were off the streets and not joining gangs and ending up in juvie and prison and all of that. I knew that if I was going to be taken seriously, if I was going to be getting a visa based on me coming in with this great idea for an education program that was going to involve, science and art and culture and entertainment and all that sort of thing, I needed to get my act together. I needed to sort my shit out. I had already started losing weight. I just put up the posts about, my weight loss journey because of my supernatural foods, and because I was marvelling yesterday going through the photos at just how much I've changed. My metamorphosis has been transformational on like a supernatural level as far as I'm concerned, but I knew I had to sort my shit out. I was, to say I was rough around the edges is an understatement. I was uncouth, I was foul-mouthed, I was a slob, I had no pride in my appearance, I had no self-respect, I had no dignity because I was with Martin. That says everything. I was with these students who were just the epitome of everything that I despise now because of their disloyalty, because of their uncivilized, inhumane practices, the way they treated each other, the way they fed on gossip, the way they failed the Judas test. It just repulses me now. I'm ashamed that I ever had these people in my life because these are people that I would not give the time of day to now if they came into my life. Ugh. Like my standards now for who I will allow into my social circle is so high now that none of the people that I've walked away from are anyone that I'd ever have back in my life because they're not up to my standard. And I have high standards now, and the highest standard for me is loyalty. If you're not loyal, if you're not loyal to your principles, if you're not loyal to me, if you're not loyal to your faith, if you're not loyal to your ancestors, if you're not loyal to the people around you, I don't want to know you. Because in 2016, when I got with Martin and I knew that I wanted to go to America and, make a difference, I didn't want to just go over there and be the wife of Martin. I wanted to stand on my own 2 feet and be someone worthy of getting a visa, because just like, it's like when you're a foreigner and you want to live in somebody else's country, people don't understand what a high honour it is when you are awarded a visa, when that country says, yes, come in, you're somebody we want here. That's such a high honour. And I wanted to be someone who earned my visa into America, standing on my own 2 feet as a proud, independent woman, and not just because it was a spousal visa. Because I wanted to go to America and make a difference. Which is why, I was building everything. Everything I was building had to be perfect. So that when I applied for my visa, they'd be like, you are absolutely 100% the sort of woman we want coming in. Please come in. Have at our children. You speak the language of child. You're exactly what we're looking for. Please come on in. And if you're going to make great movies and stuff like that, well, hey, sort of thing, And I knew that in order to do that, I had to change gears. I had to sort my shit out. And so I started working on myself. I worked harder to lose weight. It's been 11 years. On the 29th of June, I think, I say 29th of June, but it could have been 29th of July, but I'm pretty sure it was the 29th of June. 2015, that's when I knew I was going to lose weight. It's taken 11 years. I know most people, they get all their weight off within like 4 or 5 years, but I wanted to do it slow so that the weight would stay off longer. And I also had to work around spinal diseases and hernia issues, and because I have over a 90% chance of getting a reoccurring hernia, and the three that I had almost killed me. So I have to be so careful about how I exercise and how I get fit, because of the fact that if I have another hernia, it could be the death of me. I'm not allowed to carry anything over, heavier than a bag of sugar. I can't even cycle anymore. I used to get on my exercise bike and do it that way, and do exercises on the bed and then go for small walks and that sort of thing. But if you ask my boys and that, there were times where I was so fat that just walking to the end of my driveway would have been exhausting for me. I'm just going to have a sip of my coffee. I started watching how I spoke. I was watching etiquette videos on YouTube. I started having more pride in my appearance, dressing differently and changing my attitude. I cleared myself of all my toxicities and all my baggage, all my everything I was absorbing from Chris. I learned how to put up a barrier to protect myself and the boys enough. So I thought that the impact of the damage that he was doing, it didn't affect me while I was living there. Like, I'll deal with it once I get out of there, sort of thing. I was in survival mode and doing whatever I had to do to survive long enough to get out of that situation. So then I would use the time once I got out of it to heal myself from it. So, I came up with ways to deal with anxiety and paranoia, and little realizing that it wasn't even me. See, because I was still developing quantum magnetics and working on developing the ascension sciences with Chris, who was my first test subject in all of that. And so I was learning to untie all the knots, realizing that a lot of the knots that had been put there were because of other people. And once I untied everything and healed myself from the shock that my nervous system had absorbed from having to deal with the impact of just the vicious, nasty, angry, self-loathing, no, non-self-respecting humans that I was sitting around, absorbing all of it, I knew I knew I had to do something. I knew something was happening, but I couldn't figure out what. And then, of course, when I, got thrown into my ascension, working with the kids, working with the military boys, working with the whole Epstein thing, developing quantum magnetics and doing the jumps and documenting everything that I was seeing, that has now all come to pass already. Everything that I was documenting in WordPress and all that, it was all starting to come true. There was evidence of it all coming out, and I didn't understand the full impact of what it was that I was developing in quantum magnetics, but I knew it was big. But I also had been led to believe that I had the right support around me to help me develop it, so that when the shit hit the fan, we'd be all in it together, so that the clean up afterwards, we would all be in it together. Little realizing that the people who were pretending to have my back were actually the people responsible for putting me through what I've just been put through. Now the thing is, while I was left to do all of this on my own, I understand why I'm not. I have zero feeling, zero remorse, zero regret. I have zero feeling or emotions in regards to the friends, family, client, exes, like they're nothing to me now, they're dead. I'm talking about the experience that I was put through and the result, the aftermath, which I'm dealing with now, and why I was so angry. And it's because of the fact I am so sick and tired of seeing these people prancing about, pretending to be world leaders and billionaires and that, who give zero shits about humanity. They're fakes, they're frauds, they're liars. They are disloyal to the gods that they claim to preach. They are disloyal to the people that they claim to work for, work with, look over, watch over, stand by. There's no loyalty. And that's why I was pissed off. Because it's like all you care about is the money racking up in your little treasure box, and you don't give a shit about the fact that when you're dead, because all of these people are like over the age of 50, when you're all dead, it's your children and grandchildren that are going to have to suffer the consequences of what you're allowing your friends and colleagues to carry out in the name of the Great Reset. There is everybody online is saying that what Elon Musk is trying to pull off is 100% delusional. That he's living a in his head. Obviously, he grew up watching sci-fi stuff and being the grandson of a Nazi, and that they feed him that bullshit that he's now led to believe is going to be utter reality when it's not. And everybody is saying that man is delusional. One guy said, "Who's gonna stop him? Somebody has to stop this man because he's delusional. It's a mental illness." And I just said in my head, I'm stopping him. I'm stopping Elon Musk. And anybody who did business with him, anybody who buys into his rhetoric and his delusion will go down with him. He has, just like with Mar-a-Lago, overpriced the value of what he's creating. He's hemorrhaging money hand over fist, losing billions and billions and billions in SpaceX. So he's trying to conglomerate like Tesla and XAI and all of that to make it like one big company, trying to make out like, yeah, we're doing this great thing, but everyone's like, we're on to you, mate. Tesla's failing. XAI, like you're constantly in court dealing with the whole Grok thing, the whole, chat GBT, you're hemorrhaging money. SpaceX isn't worth the paper that it's written on. You're delusional. And he's hemorrhaging money hand over fist. The only company he's actually making money on is SpaceX, Starlink, his satellites, his broadband and that, because that's what he uses to spy on everyone. And you got all these people who are being disloyal to their countries and disloyal to the planet, who don't care about the fact that climate change is a lie, net zero is a lie, that these data centres are raping our planet of all its natural resources just so that in the brief few years that these people are still alive, they get to add more gold to their treasure box. It's disloyalty, it's fake. That these people are fake and they're fraudulent. They don't give a shit about what happens to the planet or the future, because long after they're dead, they don't have to deal with the consequences. But it's their children and grandchildren that will. I 100% guarantee that with that Grok Imagine, there will be stuff in the dark web to do with the King's grandchildren and like Catherine and all of that, that if he saw, it would change his opinion about what he's letting his government do with AI. You cannot sit and claim to give a shit about the planet when you've got data centres that are killing the birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees and drinking up all the water and poisoning the soil. your loyalty to saving the planet is fraudulent. Your loyalty to God and everything that God stands for when He is the one that created the earth is fraudulent, and I am sick to death of disloyal people, and that's why I was angry, because these people don't give a shit about anything other than the money that goes in their bank, and then when they're dead they can't even take any of it with them. It's like my dad used to say, enjoy your money while you're here, because you can't take it with you when you go. What's the point of being the richest person in the cemetery? Loyalty is the fabric, is the backbone of humanity, because without loyalty you don't have each other's backs on the battlefield. You don't have each other's backs when you're out hunting and gathering. You don't have loyal spouses, so you end up spreading diseases and breaking hearts and messing with minds. Loyalty is the people that turn up every day and go to work for you to help build your business and build your company, because they're loyal to their employment contract, because they're loyal to their families. I've got to put food on the table. They pay their taxes when they don't legally have to, but they do it because they're loyal to their countries. And what do they get in return? Oh, would you get a text message? You're fired. We're firing 50,000 of you. Bye. No severance packet. No severance package. Oh, we're just gonna eat up the planet and chop houses, chop trees down, and you can't move into those houses. You can't buy those houses. You can't swim in that water. No, bye. We're not loyal to you. Give us your money, but we're gonna freeze your old people. We're gonna poison the population with bioterrorism. We're going to threaten war every other day. We're going to make you have to beg for fuel. We're going to make you, eat the food we tell you to eat. And if we decide we're going to put on a fake pandemic and an oil crisis so that we can control the food supply coming in and out of the supermarkets, then we're going to do it. But give us your tax money, because we're loyal to the country. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're loyal to yourself. You don't give a shit. That's why you've got people like Donald Trump building these underground bunkers, because they know that when they try and pull off this great reset, all the cowards have got to have somewhere to hide. Put Donald Trump in the battlefield. See, that was the thing about the kings of the days of old. At least they got on their horses and went to war. The kings and the dukes and that, they fought in the wars. They went and they fought these wars. At least they were there doing their bit. Can you imagine Donald Trump and Macron and that getting on their horse to go and fight into battle? I don't think so. There's no loyalty to their country. There's no loyalty to their ancestors. There's no loyalty to their gods. Only the only thing they worship is money and the devil. And I'm sick to death of it, because we need regime changes, as Donald Trump would say. We need to get these people out of their positions of power and replace them with people who are loyal to the cause, who are loyal to their gods, who are loyal to their ancestors, who are loyal to the country and the flag. Because people like Keir Starmer and Macron and Moose and all of that have completely sold their cultures down the river. There's no country that I can think of, maybe other than Russia, who are actually proud of their national heritage, who are still trying to keep the traditions of, the old ways and that alive. But after I found out what I found out about SpaceX and Russia and that yesterday, my loyalty's gone. Because I took poison. I was poisoned by people who by law were supposed to have my back to protect a man who ended up choosing loyalty over Elon Musk and SpaceX, over humanity. And I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed of everyone. I'm ashamed of the NHS. I'm ashamed of the West Yorkshire Police. I'm ashamed of Judge Campbell. I'm ashamed of all those doctors. I'm ashamed of the King. I'm ashamed of Putin. I'm ashamed of all of them. I'm ashamed of Trump. I'm ashamed of Musk. I'm ashamed of all of them. Because all they cared about was themselves and what they were going to get out of destroying humanity. Now, I 100% will stand by my word that Vladimir Putin and Russia are the victims of an ethnic cleansing. My view on Putin is completely personal, not political, because I feel betrayed. Because I was the one that got treated like shit. I was the one that was laughed at. I was the one that was having the life strangled out of me, being suffocated and dominated, and he knew it. The king knew it. Everybody knew it because I was putting it all out there, and I was still sold down the river for money that they could put in their own bank. And the thing is that I wasn't asking for anything from them other than to pay attention to the fact that they were around people whose sole purpose was to wipe out their bloodlines and kill off the planet so that they could go into space and have control over the resources on our planet. Oh, she's crazy. Oh, let's buy into the space program. Let's walk around with meta glasses on. Let's do business making whiskey and stuff. And buy into the whole data center AI digital thing. Hey, I'm gonna support the ethnic cleansing of my own family, says the king. And I was warning them it was coming. And Charles is dying. So how long's he got left, we don't know. But what's he leaving for his children and grandchildren? A planet that Bill Gates and his friends in the World Economic Forum are going to make sure that Charlotte and George and Louis and that don't get to enjoy, because their granddad let his friends rape the planet of everything of value: the birds, the bees, the flowers, the trees, the water, the oceans, the animals. A traditional education. They were saying that since AI came in, people's IQs have dropped. AI is making everyone dumb, which is exactly what they want. WALL-E, the movie WALL-E. We'll take care of everything for you, including thinking and moving. We'll tell you what to eat. We'll make you think you've got choices, but it'll not be anything like the choices you had before we threw you off into space. And you got people like the King and Macron and Mers and all of them, Albanese, all of them, Carney, all the world leaders just going, yeah, go and do it. Because, we'll be dead by the time we have to feel the effects of the damage that we did before we died. But what about your children and your grandchildren? Because what's going to be left is those who rise up after you, who were bred having it infused into their brain that when we're dead, you take over, and when you take over, you got to do 10 times worse than we did. So when does it stop? Because that's what you need to understand. That's the reason why our brethren got off the planets, because they learned pretty quickly that they went the way we're going. And they had to get off their planets because they had caused so much destruction that they killed their planets off. Their planets were unlivable. And so they had to leave home, which was heartbreaking and devastating to them. They learnt the hard way, the humble way, that they're the reason why they no longer have a place to call home. And that's why they're peace lovers now. You won't find a single brethren out there who is a advocate for war. And it's why they won't come near us with a 10-foot barge pole. We are simians to them. We are underdeveloped. We haven't even begun to evolve yet, as far as they're all concerned. They won't let us anywhere near these traversing the galaxies and that while we're still killing each other on the battlefield and eating children and harvesting organs and raping the planet of its resources and chopping down trees and poisoning the waterways and just helping ourselves to sex and women and destroying our bodies. And they won't, because they're the closest embodiment that we have to God. Even though they would never, ever, ever allow you to call them gods, they are the living embodiment of the highest frequency next to God. They are one step below the Creator himself, or creation itself. And Elon Musk thinks that he's going to be able to join them through SpaceX and his Starship. What a arrogant, egotistical, delusional, non-functioning human mind that is. He thinks that he's good enough to join them when they don't even need bodies or spaceships to do what they do. And he thinks that because of his, I've nearly got $1 trillion in the bank, that money's going to buy him a seat. And what does God say? It's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of the needle than for a rich man to enter the gates of heaven. Money doesn't buy you a place in the universe. Money doesn't buy you a place in the heavens. Your integrity does. Your morality and your ethics do. Your loyalty does. And if you don't have any of those things, you ain't getting anywhere near the stars. In order for you to be able to access the heart of the atom, you have to be of the same frequency to withstand the pitch. And he would get crushed like a Coke can the second he tried, because he is too low density to withstand the pressure. That's why he operates in the realms of pedophilia and child sacrifices and causing earthquakes and floods to steal gold and lithium and all of that. Earth is a living, breathing existence that has a heartbeat. And the scientists are saying that her heartbeat is slowing down. The more we frack, the more we mine for the lithium and all the things that she needs to survive, other than the coal and the gas and the oil, which is the earth will never run out of as long as we've got trees and things are dying. But gold and lithium and that are a limited supply, and that's what they're after. And her heartbeat, the scientists are saying, is getting slower and slower. And yet we've got all these world leaders saying, we care about the planet, climate change, net zero, rah. But they're not. It's all a lie. All they care about is lining their own pockets. The same reason why they start wars. It's got nothing to do with liberty, freedom, humanity, nothing. It's all to do with what can we do to make people suffer so that we can take their money from them. And yet we, the people, are the ones that have the power to do something about it, and we're just sitting on our asses doing nothing but complaining about it on social media. And here I am risking life and limb, freedom and liberation every day, getting up, banging the drum and saying, this is what we need to do. We need to do something about it, rise up and do something. And that's why they come after me. I have risked everything to wake up. The two most powerful men on the planet who have the position to change the world, to save the world, to save humanity, and they've done nothing but count their pennies with the people that they're doing business with, who are responsible for the reason why the planet's in the way that it is. And we all have to take responsibility for it because the butterfly effect. The actions that we take, the actions that our ancestors took, we are all now responsible for the condition that the planet's in. We are all responsible. We put these people in power. We allow them to have power. We allow them to get away with what they're doing. We're doing nothing. Having a wee protest, a fake protest with the Pied Piper, so that they can scan your faces and get it all on AI, so they can go through your social media and decide who's going to be a threat and who's probably going to end up dead or not when they decide to switch you off and all that sort of thing. That's not enough. It's not enough. People don't realise the power that they hold in the palm of their hands because they're too busy doom scrolling, too busy caring about the relationships of the Kardashians. But if you're sitting there because you've lost your home, because they've cut your benefits, because you're being deported when you haven't done anything, when you have a visa and you've earned your place, you served your country, and they're freezing you out, starving you out, turning your power off, raising your bills to the point where you have to choose between heating and food, where your children are starting to go without, where your cost of living has risen so much that you're now living in your car or on the streets. What's going to tip you over the edge to make you realise that you got them in, you get them out? When you've got Donald Trump demanding that, like the IRS, the Trump family, and immune to the IRS now. So the IRS can't look into any of the money that the Trumps are making. So while they're coming after you in America, Donald Trump and his family are no longer required to have IRS tax investigations into where their money's going, how they made it, where it's coming from. That's how evil and corrupt they are. Great Britain has the power. I've handed everybody the answers and nobody's doing anything. I'm still the one getting up, banging the drum, trying to wake people up to make them realise what the hell are these people going to have to do to tip you over the edge, to make you realise that they are handing Elon Musk the keys to humanity and letting him literally think that he's Thanos. Thanos, the decider of fates. Thanos is the one who holds the power to kill gods. Because in his delusional mind, his Nazi grandfather made him think, that's why he's called Elon. Because in their cult, they prepare these things for generations down the line. And they lead that little gimp to believe that he holds the power of the universe in his hand. and he believes it. And so people on social media are saying, someone's got to stop him. And it's like, I'm stopping him. I'm the one that, I'm going to stop him. He's my doppelganger. He's Gideon Knight in the Quantum Menace. I'm stopping him. And I will keep whistleblowing. And I will keep helping the people that he's up against and caught. Like Ashley and Sam. And, you know, he lost his case with Sam Altman. I'll keep causing as much trouble for him as I possibly can, even with him jamming my phones. If it's the last thing I do, I will take that man down. Because he truly believes that he's going to save the selected bloodlines from the rest of humanity. And then we've got the king in Russia opening the doors for him and saying, yeah, come on in. And the king and Putin are the two bloodlines that he's after the most. The King David bloodline. Because the King David bloodline starts in Africa and ends in Eastern Europe. So they've handed him their fate. And what's happening in Great Britain at the moment is that people are wanting to not only abolish the monarchy, but they're calling for the king to be arrested. They want him to be legally held accountable for his betrayal of Great Britain. And that's exactly what I said was going to happen. I said if they abolish you, they're going to want to press charges. They'll, you know, like they're doing with Andrew. A few years ago, they thought Prince Andrew was untouchable. And now him and Sarah are, I mean, she's going to be extradited to America. Apparently. You know, they're wanting, there's like criminal investigations on those two. A few years ago, they would have said he was untouchable. So they've got him now, and they're coming after the king. Well, if they did it to Andrew, we've got to do it to the king. Abolish the monarchy, arrest the king. That's what they're saying on X. And that's what I said. I said to him back in 2024, you'll go the way of Louis XV if you're not careful. And what are they saying? Bring back the death penalty. But, like, execute the traitors. So why I was angry yesterday was because, like, you people have no idea. I live in pain every day. From the shoulder pain from where I was stabbed by that dirty needle. That pain goes all the way through to my scapula now. Because I was stabbed at the back, but the pain goes all the way to the front. It's unbearable sometimes. It's so painful. I'm in pain every day, scar pain. I'm doing my best with my abdominal pain, sometimes my throat. Even though it doesn't crack and break in there as much as what it did, I still suffer from sore throats. I lived in fear of being locked up, deported, being made homeless, living on 75 quid a month. Like, after bills went out, 75 quid a month is what I had, where I had to make every penny last until everything got changed. Thankfully, the Universal Credit people jumped in and, you know, they sorted me out in that. But, I mean, I need a new air fryer. The one that I want is like 35 quid. But I'm going to have to save a couple of months to buy a new air fryer because my one's dying. But it took me 3-4 months to save up for my vacuum cleaner, which I'm proud that I was able to do. But I had my phone jammed almost every day. Last night it was about 8:35 they came and jammed my phone. Last year it was like almost every half an hour they were jamming my phone. They're using fuel just to come and fly over and jam my phone. Cops turning up, threatening me with all sorts of false accusations, filing false police reports. I'm so heavily shadow banned now that Elon Musk will decide at any moment either to just not even let me make posts or reply to posts. Some of my posts won't even get views. But every now and then it glitches and I'll see the real views. So I know that people are listening, but he doesn't want me to know that people are listening because he thinks that it's funny and that he has this control. What would happen if I stopped focusing on world domination and directed my attention towards you? Do it. Because as far as I'm concerned, we're in a boxing ring and Mum is about to knock you out. I'm going in for the knockout. And I will not stop until he's flat on his ass. And that bell's ringing. And he's got birds swimming around his head because I'm going to knock that bitch out. Focus on me all you like because none of your technology can match quantum magnetics. I don't need your technology. If you think you're so tough, come to my door. No phones, no satellites, none of your rich, powerful friends, none of your crap little space things, none of your Starlinks or your SpaceXs or your whatever, your XAIs, none of that bullshit. Come and face me, face to face, and use your power to focus on me, because I guarantee that I'll take you out before you even get to my front door. Elon Musk, I'll take you out. Mama's going to knock you out. That was the song that my military boys, that was our song. Mama's going to knock you out. Because they used to call me Mama Bear, or Mama for short. And when they were scared, I used to say to them, whenever you need to perk yourself up, whenever you need me and I can't be there for you, like because you're on the battlefield or whatever, Mama's going to knock you out. Put that song on, LL Cool J. For all his technology and all his power and all his money, I'm taking him down using nothing but physics. And he hates me for it because I'm supernatural. His AI is no match for quantum magnetics. His AI is no match for an ascension. His AI is no match for God. And I have access to all three. Quantum magnetics, physics, God. I told him years ago I was going to destroy Tesla, that I was going to destroy SpaceX, that I was going to tear everything he was building down. And that's exactly what's happening. I told him I was going to take everything from him and leave him with nothing. And that's exactly what's happening. I told him I was going to humiliate him and destroy his reputation. And that's exactly what's happening. And what does he do? Turns my phone off for a few seconds because I learnt how to override it. Gets his bitches to try and mess with, my benefits and... I'm a social reject with a broken penis. I'm so angry and I hate women, so I have to take it out on the rest of the world. You couldn't make him up as a movie villain if you tried, but in the Quantum Menace, he is exactly a movie villain. Gideon Knight, Art Morder, the Thor killer. And he needs to be locked up. He's criminally insane. Everything that they try to say was wrong with me is everything that's wrong with him because he's my doppelganger. Same with Chris. All of the people that did that to me, these are people who need to be researched. They need to be under medical care. Like, what kind of doctor uses the opportunity to feed his ego to destroy a woman who's trying to protect the country from said people, who uses that opportunity to inflict pain and torture upon her simply because they're not smart enough to understand how an ascension works in conjunction with quantum magnetics. One day, quantum magnetics is going to be taught in schools. One day, quantum magnetics is going to be a certifiable science that history is going to talk about for hundreds of thousands of years. You know, just like E equals MC squared and the theory of relativity and all that, quantum magnetics is going to be like that. And it's going to be in the history books that those doctors and cops and Sumo Digital and the King and Starmer and Macron and Mers and von der Leyen and that all set about to try and shut me down and shut me up because they weren't smart enough to understand what it was I was what it was I was developing, but they were smart enough to know that what it was I was developing wasn't going to be good for them once people cottoned on to the power of what it was I was developing. Holy crap, if people realise what she's doing, we're screwed. Kill her! Shut her up, shut her down, scramble her phone! Make sure she's got no one to support her so that when we kill her, we'll have the final humiliation of having her die in a pauper's grave. No one will collect her body. No one will even know she's dead. But it's like, okay, and? Well, I just go back to Adam. But at least I'll go back to Adam. Because the only thing that'll happen to me is they'll turn me into a martyr. I become a martyr. They'll martyr me. And then people will be like, whoa. And then, there'll be shrines in my honour. And my artefacts will become sacred. And people will travel from all over the world to come and worship at my shrines because then I'll be healing people. And then I'll be Saint Debbie. Whereas them, they'll go down in history as the Nazis and Hitler and all the rest of them. The Aleister Crowley lot, the Jeffrey Epstein lot. So it's like, okay, whatever. It's only death. So death is only biological. I'll be back. They won't. They don't get a second go around. Because when they die, they go straight down. Whereas when I die, I go up. So at least I have honour and integrity and I'm loyal. I'm loyal to the cause. I'm loyal to humanity. I'm loyal to doing the right thing. I am exactly what I say I am. I do what I say and I say what I do, unlike everybody else. It's all just fraudulent bullshit. And I'm tired of it. And something needs to be done. Because the bad guys have been getting away with being bad for too long. And we're the ones that hold the power to make the change. We have to be the change we want to see in the world. And that's exactly what I'm doing. Which is why in 2016 I started ramping up the losing of the weight. I took the etiquette as Pearl would say, etiquette classes. I changed the way I spoke. I went off all that medication that was destroying my body, for the pain. Went off all the pain medication. Took the natural alternative. Got physically fit. Worked on myself, started ascending, pulled myself up by my bootstraps, rolled up my sleeves and got on with it because I wanted to be the change I wanted to see in the world in front of the eyes of the children that I'm trying to rescue. I wanted to be a role model for my children about when you set your mind to something, what you're prepared to do in order to make the changes in your life. And then because of that, that's when everyone started coming at me with their swords and arrows and bows and daggers, and because they hated the fact that I was bettering myself and they were too lazy to do the same thing. I was being an example of what it is to turn your life around and live by morals and standards in order to be a good role model for the children that you were wanting to be the leader of, that they were never ever going to be. They weren't creative like me. They didn't know my science like me. They couldn't handle the supernatural. They wanted, the quick money doing tarot readings and psychic readings and that, and not put in the effort to actually have an ascension so that they could hold these supernatural powers in the palm of their hand. They wanted the quick, easy, fast money way of doing it that would give them the reputation, the popularity and the likes and subscribes, instead of putting in the effort and fighting in the trenches to do it the honourable way. So they sold out their own principles. They never had morals and ethics. I was in no way a perfect human being before I decided that I needed to change my life. But once I changed my life, my achievement, my goal wasn't to be perfect. My goal was never to think that I was better than anybody else. My goal has always been to be better than the person I used to be before I decided my life needed to change. I'm not trying to be better than anyone else. I'm trying to be better than who I used to be. And my God, have I achieved that? Because I wouldn't want to know me from the past either. I was fat and blech, yuck. But I lived for my children. I sacrificed everything for my children. My boys were everything to me. I went all out with their education as a homeschooler. I gave them, the best birthdays, and I worked my ass off to make sure they had Christmases and birthdays and that their own father didn't even want to give them. I worked on myself for my children. And I won't accept anything less than loyalty, than someone who knows what the word loyal means. If they're going to work with me, work for me, work around me. If you're in this for you, I don't want to know you. Because the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And I'm trying to build a whole new community for the children in my foundation where, at least for the year that they're with us, they've got a place where they feel safe, that they can call home. And the thing is, I don't even know where that's going to be. I thought it was Switzerland. I thought it was Russia. I thought it was Canada. I thought it was America. But there's no country that I can find so far that doesn't have the stench of Elon Musk and Donald Trump and the World Economic Forum about them. But I'm leaving that up to God. Shame about Italy, eh? I could live in Italy. I could live in Switzerland, but of just abhorrent behaviour. Shameful, sinful, abhorrent behaviour. These people have sold their ancestors and their cultures and their countries out for dollars that they can't take with them when they die. And the legacy that they've left for their children and grandchildren is such that these people won't even be allowed to walk down the street because their names are going to be synonymous with evil and Nazism and pedophilia and child trafficking and organ harvesting and prostitution. And STDs and blech, yuck. So I'm doing what I'm told to do. I'm doing what is intuitive for me to do because I know that other than taking Elon Musk down as my sole purpose in life at the moment, I want to get back to writing my stories and that, and then just let God decide where I'm going and what I'm supposed to do with it. But I can tell you one thing is that there isn't a single person from my past, as of this point right now, that would be stupid enough to ever think that I would allow them back now. Yesterday was my cut off because I'm done, like done, done, like across the board done. Don't come at me, don't come near me, no fake accounts, no trying to stroke my ego, doing the cute little puppy eye thing, no, because this isn't personal anymore. You sold out humanity. You helped the people who want to make sure that the birds and the bees and the flowers and the trees and the waterways and the animals and the children don't have a future and will never feel safe as long as the people you helped are in the positions of power that they hold. You sold out humanity. While I'm fighting for humanity, you were supposed to help me fight for humanity, and you sold humanity out. Every single one of you, from my husband to my clients, students, friends, family, people I was put in charge of watching over, all of it. You sold out humanity. And I'm disgusted and ashamed. So I only want to be around people whose moral compass points north. North Star. So, yeah. So that's a warning to anybody who thinks that they might be able to sweet talk their way back into my life. And I know who you are with your fake accounts and that as well. Jody, don't even try it. So, there we go. So that's why I'm angry. Was angry. I'm not angry anymore because I listened to a couple of sermons on YouTube, Billy Graham. I know, the controversies around him, but some of his sermons, he just knows exactly what to say. I used to listen to a lot of his sermons when in the homeless shelter, when Chris used to parade the boys past the hotel room to try and punish me because he knew that it was breaking my heart. And then I found out I could have had my kids any time I wanted. There was no custody thing. He was just their legal custodian while I was locked up. He lied to everyone. He lied to the boys. Oh, she can see you, but she's not allowed to be financially responsible for you, even though I'm the one that was still buying them clothes, and I would drag bags and bags and bags of fruit and vegetables, salads and that, to their house to leave at their front door because he wasn't feeding them. Like fruits and vegetables, they were craving fruits and vegetables and getting sick all the time because he wasn't. It was all takeout, and yeah, just ugh. So I was spending everything I had. I was living on like I buy cans of tomatoes and just live on like tomato soup that was costing like 45p to make a big pot of tomato soup, just so that my boys could have meat, beef, and chicken and fruits and salads and then like I'm not allowed to carry anything heavier than a bag of sugar, and I'd be carrying bags and bags full of fruits and vegetables and all of that to the boys, potato salad, all of it to the boys, dragging it all across town, getting on the bus and that, coming home being in absolute agony, but feeling so proud of myself that I knew that at least for a few days a week, my boys were getting fruits and vegetables and the vitamins and minerals they needed. Because I have sacrificed everything for my boys. Since the day I conceived them, I sacrificed my body, I sacrificed my health, I sacrificed my freedom, I sacrificed my mental health, I sacrificed my career, all of it, just to protect my boys because they're everything to me. Other than like my sister and my 3 nephews, my boys are the most important people in my life, which is why they targeted me as a mother, because they knew that my reputation as a woman and as a mother was the thing that I valued the most important thing to me, which is why they targeted me. If we make the world look like she's a bad woman and isn't safe around children, then nobody's going to want to do business with her or give her a visa or let her in to build this school. That was their whole plan. But now it's backfiring because everybody's seen that actually, out of all the people that came after me, I'm the only one that actually cares about what happens to the children. Now people are seeing, holy shit, the reason why they came after her is because she's trying to protect the children from these people, from the pedophiles and the ones who are sleeping with the pedophiles and the groomers and covering up for the human traffickers and all that. That's why they're coming after her. She's the one protecting the children from them. But they didn't want us seeing that. Now it all makes sense. So I'm fine now. I fell asleep listening to the sermons. I had dinner really, really late. I usually like to have an early dinner because of my keto. I try to go at least between 14 and 18 hours keto, depending on how early I have my dinner. But because I'm hypoglycemic and I have issues with low sugar levels, I make sure that I keto when I sleep. You know, it helps keep the weight off. But yeah, I had dinner like, it was about 7:45, I think it was, 7:30 something, 7:45. But I just had cold meat and salad and it was absolutely lovely. We're in that season where I get to live on cold meat and salad. So yeah, and then I passed out again and woke up and yeah, now I'm making this video. So I am okay, I've calmed down, but I have drawn a line in the sand of what I will and won't tolerate. And I will no longer tolerate any form of disloyalty, whether it's to me, whether it's to God, whether it's to your cause, or whether it's to humanity. If you're only in this life for yourself, I don't want to know you. Don't come near me. I'm telling you now, because you won't like the reception. So, yeah, no more Mrs. Nice Guy. I'm done. Yesterday, absolutely chopped the head off. Yeah, like done. Chopped, gone, pew, done. Done, 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 done. So, I'm going to go and make another coffee. I might listen to another sermon, or watch some YouTube videos and that, just to recalibrate and get myself back to normal. But I'm fine now. I'm not angry. I'm determined and indignant. I'm It spurred me on to push even harder to build this foundation and to get my message out there, to say to people it's time to wake up. Wake up. If we can't rely on them, we can only rely on ourselves. But if we all work together, then we can take care of them as a collective of people who have finally been pushed over the edge. Enough is enough. So, you know, we can either take back our countries and our culture together, or leave nothing for the next generation. Because Elon Musk and Keir Starmer and Donald Trump and Bill Gates and von der Leyen and Zelensky and all the rest of them, that's what they're determined to have happen. That our children and our grandchildren and our great grandchildren have nothing left to enjoy. So it's up to us. And I'm leading the charge. And I'm pointing right at Elon Musk. So get ready, Gimp. Get ready, Grootsling. Get ready, Black Annis, because I'm coming in for the final knockout. And the funny thing is, I'm not even going to have to do anything about it, because it's going to be God that throws the final punch. And when he does, it's going to be a fall from grace, a thud heard around the world that's going to knock all your supporters out like a 10-pin bowling alley strikeout. So, Starmer hiding in the corner, cowering like a little girl. They should be really scared. Because, like Jeremiah in the Bible 10 through 11, read it. You've pissed God off. And when you piss God off, there's nowhere to go, nowhere to run. And that level of betrayal to humanity, to his children, to his planet, to his creation, to his animals, to the beauty of nature that he gave us to enjoy and to live off, you've betrayed the whole lot. You haven't just betrayed Earth and humanity and nature and future generations and his precious Earth and his solar system and his galaxy and his universe. You haven't just betrayed all of them. You've betrayed him personally. He's taken it personally. So now he's coming after you, and he's coming after Elon Musk first, and then it'll be Trump and Starmer and von der Leyen and all the rest of them, because they've allowed it to happen. They've given him the money and given him the backing and the support to allow him to think that he can just wipe out humanity and then get on his little spaceship and go into space and start all over again. Well, he's got another thing coming. And that's why I'm pissed off at Russia, because I found out yesterday that Russia and Putin and that have been investing and supporting in Elon Musk's little SpaceX. He didn't even realise what it was he was signing up to. He just knew it was going to make him a lot of money, except it's not, because SpaceX is hemorrhaging billions, so he's going to be losing a ton of money. And that's the price you pay for betraying humanity. Because he didn't know when he was signing up to it what Elon Musk's master plan was. He thought it was just going to be a great idea to make money, not realising that the master plan was to not only wipe out humanity, but to start with wiping out the Slavic bloodlines first. The two that hold the most power, King Charles, Putin bloodline. They walked right into it. He walked right into it. So, yeah, I'm done. There's zero. I'm not, and like I said, it's personal. It's got nothing to do with the fact that Russia and Ukraine have been used as a pawn in this game. They are the victims of the extermination plan. The whole point is to wipe out the Slavic bloodline. It's an ethnic cleansing, and he's fighting against that. You know, like he's in the right there, but in terms of his connection to Elon Musk and SpaceX and all of that, there's a greater betrayal at play that he didn't realise he was signing up to, that he didn't know he was being a part of. Because he's not the sort of man that would have the kind of integrity to stand up to people like Israel, to rescue children that were being trafficked there, and then turn around and say, yeah, no, screw humanity, let's build a spaceship and kill everyone off. He's not that kind of person. He didn't know. He wouldn't have known what he was signing up for. He would have just been thinking about the money he was going to make from it. And he should have known better. So, yeah. Like I said, it's personal, not political. I'll always defend him in the war and all of that. But, yeah, my emotional attachment now is zero. I have zero emotional attachment. So I'm just going to go back to writing, finishing my opera and my vampire movie and my werewolf movie and all of that. I'm going to, put more meat on those bones and just sit and wait for God to open the door, for God to open my cage and let me out. So, yep, so I just was giving you an update. So I'm going to go and have my coffee now and listening to the birds outside. Listen to a sermon maybe after I listen to the birds, and I will speak to you later. Ka kite anō.